A tiny creature just survived the vacuum of outer space. No suit, no oxygen, no shield from radiation that would kill you in minutes. It floated there, and then it came back to life. That's not science fiction. That happened. Nature is supposed to follow rules. Cells need water. Bodies need oxygen. Life needs warmth. But somewhere along the way, evolution stopped listening to its own instructions. 5 animals broke the rulebook so badly that scientists still argue about how they're possible. You're about to meet all 5. Each one bends a different law of biology. And the last one doesn't just bend a law, it erases one entirely. Let's start with the creature that shrugged off outer space. Meet the water bear. Officially, it's called a tardigrade. It's smaller than a grain of sand. Under a microscope, it looks like a chubby, 8-legged bear waddling through moss. Harmless, almost cute, and nearly impossible to kill. When conditions turn deadly, the water bear does something no other animal can pull off. It pushes almost all the water out of its own body. It curls into a dry little ball called a ton. In that state, its metabolism drops so low that scientists can barely measure it. It's not quite alive, and not quite dead either. In that frozen-in-time state, water bears have survived being boiled. They've survived being frozen to nearly absolute zero. They've survived radiation doses that would shred human DNA. And in 2007, researchers sent them into orbit and exposed them directly to the vacuum of space. Most came back. Some even reproduced afterward. Think about that for a second. You need a spacesuit just to step outside a spacecraft. This creature needed nothing. Here's the strange part. The water bear isn't fighting these conditions with brute toughness. It's not stronger than you. It's not built from some exotic material. It simply figured out how to pause life itself and resume it later, like closing a laptop mid-sentence and picking the exact word back up months afterward. But surviving space is just the opening act. The next animal doesn't bend the rules of survival. It bends the rules of what a mammal is even allowed to be. Say hello to the platypus. When the first specimen reached European scientists in the 1700s, they assumed it was a hoax. Someone had stitched a duck's bill onto a beaver. It had to be fake. It wasn't. The platypus is a mammal. Mammals give birth to live young. The platypus lays eggs. Mammals feed their babies through nipples. The platypus has none. Milk simply sweats out through patches of skin, and the babies lap it up like dew. Then there's the bill. It's not just for scooping up food. It's an electrical sensor. Underwater, the platypus closes its eyes, ears, and nose completely. It hunts blind. Instead, it reads the faint electrical signals produced by a shrimp's twitching muscles and follows that signal straight to its next meal. And if that's not strange enough, the males carry venom. A sharp spur on the hind leg delivers a toxin strong enough to drop a dog and leave a human in agony for weeks. A venomous, egg-laying, electricity-sensing mammal. Nature clearly wasn't finished experimenting. If the platypus feels impossible, the next animal turns its entire body into a weapon. The electric eel isn't even a true eel, it's more closely related to catfish. But its real trick is hidden inside its own muscles. Roughly 80% of its body is packed with specialized cells called electrocytes. Alone, each cell produces a whisper of voltage. Stacked together and fired at once, they unleash a jolt powerful enough to stun a horse standing in shallow water. Here's the part that stuns scientists even more. Electric eels don't just wait for prey to swim by. Researchers filming them discovered something extraordinary. When a threat looms at the water's edge, the eel launches itself upward and presses its chin directly against it, concentrating the entire shock into one focused strike. It essentially turns its whole body into a taser and chooses exactly where to press it. An animal that generates its own electricity, aims it like a weapon, and can literally leap out of the water to deliver it. If that feels like volunteer biology, the next animal has a punch that breaks the laws of physics. The mantis shrimp doesn't look dangerous. It's small, colorful, almost cheerful. Don't be fooled. Its front claws accelerate so fast that they move faster than a bullet leaves a gun. That strike happens so quickly it superheats the water around it for a fraction of a second, creating a tiny flash of light and a shockwave strong enough to crack aquarium glass. And its eyes are just as absurd. Human eyes detect color using 3 types of receptors. The mantis shrimp has receptors that can number well into the double digits. Scientists expected it to see a rainbow beyond human imagination. Strangely, tests suggest its color vision may actually be simpler than ours in some ways. Its eyes seem built less for seeing rich color and more for processing information at extraordinary speed. Even the mystery of how it sees the world refuses to make sense. A punch faster than a bullet. Eyes built like nothing else on Earth. If the mantis shrimp feels like nature showing off, the final animal doesn't just show off. It cancels death. Turritopsis dohrnii is a jellyfish barely the size of your fingernail. Under normal conditions, it lives, ages, and dies, just like almost every other animal on the planet. But when it's injured, starving, or under extreme stress, something happens that shouldn't be biologically possible. Its cells begin to change type. A tentacle cell can become a stinging cell. A muscle cell can become a nerve cell. The entire adult body starts folding backward through its own life cycle, transforming back into its juvenile polyp stage, the version of itself it was before it ever grew up. Then, from that reset state, it can grow into an adult jellyfish all over again. It isn't defeating death in some fictional, mystical sense. It's reversing its own biological age at the cellular level. Scientists have watched it happen in laboratories, repeatedly, under a microscope. As far as anyone can tell, there's no built-in limit to how many times it can do this. A creature that shrugs off the vacuum of space. A mammal that lays eggs and stings like a scorpion. A fish that turns its body into a living battery. A shrimp that punches faster than a bullet. And a jellyfish that erases its own age and starts over. None of these animals actually broke the laws of nature. They found the edges of those laws and pushed until something extraordinary slipped through the cracks. Every rule you thought biology had to follow, needing oxygen, needing to stay one species, needing to grow old, turned out to be more of a suggestion. Maybe nature was never broken at all. Maybe it was just waiting for something strange enough to prove how far its rules could bend. The next time someone tells you biology has limits, remember the jellyfish that came back from the beginning.